Kelly and Rich here.
Last week you would have seen us designing and building these cabinets.
This week we're going to be focusing on this space here, which is going to be our pull-out larder or our pull-out pantry for our food storage.
Here is a side view. The pull-out kitchen will feature 3 drawers, a taller area for bottles, a middle area for cans and shorter items, and a top drawer for utensils and miscellaneous junk.
There's a few things you're going to need for this project. So we've gone for 15mm birch plywood. We've had it pre-cut, but we'll put the cut list down below.
So for this project you also need a router, a pocket hole jig, some screws and some wood glue.
The first thing we're going to do is cut the slots for our drawer bottoms. You may be lucky enough to have your own router table. I am not, so I've made the next best thing. And it starts off with a scrap piece of board, and then you need a piece of wood the same depth as the wood that you're going to use. You're just going to screw it together like this.
Next, I set the depth of the router to 3 to 4 millimeters, and then I screwed and clamped it to the table.
So you need 6 sides, and in our instance they're 8.5 tall, 85mm tall. What you do, front board here, you get another piece, clamp it at the back, and then screw it in. Have a magical day unicorn cut, which is optional. We've got the router set up here, so it's 1/2 inch or so in from the edge of the router, and it's 3mm in depth. So you could cut your dado much deeper than that. So in the previous video you can see me standing in such a drawer such as this, so I know that they're pretty strong. So once you've got that set in, you have your sled ready to go.
Each of the sides can then be pushed through the router, being careful not to route your fingertips. The jig was then reconfigured to cut the bottom dado, or slot, whatever you want to call it, along the bottom of the front pieces. Then comes the slots for the top and the middle drawers. So for this, I clamped a board at the top that already had the slot, and then measured where the 9mm router bit needed to pass through. And then I attached the router sled to it, and then freehanded it across using the router jig as my guide.
Right, let's give it a go. Possibly go wrong. They're not quite as neat as the ones that went through the sled, which is why I made the sled in the first place. They are in line with the other ones. Now I just need to use a slightly different method on the middle, so I'm going to clamp a board up to just run my router along. Obviously, one thing to consider when deciding the height of your bits and bobs is how can you get stuff in and out. So here I've taken a can, because everyone eats Hammerite, and popped it in here just to see where, when I take it out the side, can I get it in and out like easily enough? I can. This is honestly the longest part of the project. If you can get this measured up straight and the dados in, the rest is all gravy. Although this is the most nerve-wracking part too. I hate doing it like, I know it's not freehand, but I hate using the router like that. The next thing that we need to do is think about how we're going to secure all this together. And what we're going to use, just like the drawers from last week, is pocket holes. I put a little guide together in our last video up above, but you can knock these out super quick. Hello. Do some pocket holes?
Okay.
Get your goggles on then.
And then you end up with these neat pocket holes.
Just got to do the rest. Now we've got all the component bits, we're ready to start assembling. So we're going to glue the joints. This one will squid out, so you need a wet cloth. to get any excess. But then we've got this 9mm ply for our bottoms, goes in here. Sorry about the shoveling sound, quite on set.
This bit would be easier if you had clamps, but we just held it in place like a human clamp and then used pocket hole screws to hold it all together. We attached one set of sides first, using 2 pocket hole screws on each, and then we flipped it over and did the other side. This way we can ensure that everything was straight and true.
The main cabinet is now built, it's looking very cute. But now's the hard part, we've got to try and get the runners on it and put it in the bag.
Just gotta pop to the old screw fix and get another set of slides. I thought I had 2 sets, and this does need 2 sets, just for stability. So I did record this, but we didn't record it.
Yeah.
We fitted the slides now, I've just got one to go on the other side. So we're doing 2 sets on here, we think. We don't think we need 3. So we've got 2 on the bottom for the weight, and then some in the middle just to help with stability. So these are 45 centimeters long ball bearing sliders. With 2 sets on, it's really like clunk click.
As our cupboards are inset doors, we space them with packing strips and then screw through from the back. Taped up and measured for our handles.
Ooh, that's even ASMR. Ooh, pretty.
Here is the handle installed. Looks pretty swish.
Here is the finished larder. We're really pleased with him. Let us know if you've done anything similar or you have a go at attempting to make something like it. Next week we are hoping to be pushing on with our kitchen build and coming up with some more clever storage solutions.